Hello, and welcome to tonight's podcast. I'm your host, Valerian Fletcher, and today we are going to be discussing a topic called bitterness. Bitterness is something that I feel like we all are very familiar with. It's something that we've all had to either overcome at some point in time in our life, but it's definitely an emotion that we have all experienced. Bitterness can seriously have negative effects on mental, emotional, and physical health. What is bitterness? Bitterness, in my own opinion, is unforgiveness that produce fruits of resentment that turn into hatred. Did you know that bitter people fantasize about the demise of people who hurt them? In fact, these thoughts can become so intrusive that they consume them. So, if you've ever saw people and you're like, wow, they are so bitter. Why are they so bitter? Why are they so mean? Why are they so hateful? And the answer is there's so much that they've been holding on to for so long, so many offenses, so much unforgiveness, so much hurt, so much pain, so much suffering that they have decided to keep themselves in a prison. So see, while you think that you're holding on to someone else, keeping them locked up in a cage, and that you're the actual owner of the key, it's you that's in prison. Now, I'm pretty sure you've heard people say that unforgiveness is just like drinking poison, waiting on another person to die. And in fact, that couldn't be farthest from the truth because you're the one that drank the poison. So while the other person that offended you is going on about their lives, you're still holding on to what they said, holding on to what they did, and it is literally causing you mental, physical, and emotional damage. And this has been scientifically proven that people that hold on to unforgiveness have a hard time. They suffer with the quality of life. They have a poor quality of life, in fact, and they have more health issues than anybody else that has chosen to release the unforgiveness in their hearts. Now, last week's podcast, we did discuss unforgiveness. This week is kind of like a spinoff, if you want to say, and it's titled Bitterness because bitterness goes hand in hand with unforgiveness. So, like I said, bitter people fantasize about the demise of the people who hurt them. And I can guarantee you they think about those thoughts intrusively throughout their day. There's not probably an hour that goes by where they're not thinking about this person. They're not having or harboring some type of negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions towards not only the people that hurt them, but it begins to change their perspective. It begins to change their outlook, their character, how their relationships are presently, the way they treat people, the way that they expect things out of life, outcomes out of life. I mean, it just really, really makes them bitter. These thoughts can hinder personal growth and cloud judgment. So basically, having these evil, wicked thoughts about other people that you continuously hold on to and you just choose to not release them for any means, they will definitely cloud your judgment and they will hinder your own personal growth. So, one definition that I found of bitterness is anger and disappointment at being treated unfairly. So, when someone hurts you, it's best to nip it in the bud literally before it takes hold of a bigger stronghold in your life. Believe it or not, you will be the only one suffering by holding on to bitterness. Even if, let's say, something unfortunate does happen to the other person, the gratification you will receive will be short lived. And in fact, will only find yourself back fantasizing about their destruction again. So basically, the best thing to do is to just let it go. Obviously, this is easier said than done. Obviously, I know that unforgiveness is something that it's effortless to just hold on to the things that people do to us. It's effortless to just let these walls automatically go up and say, well, you know what? I'm not letting anybody else in. They just did it. I'm not starting any more relationships. I'm not giving anybody else an opportunity to hurt me, because we don't have to try. But in fact, life is all about trying. Elevation is all about hard work. And if you don't, you're just going to remain stagnant in life. And unfortunately, we are going to run across people throughout our lives that are either emotionally undeveloped, who either have also been hurt, who've gone through trauma, who have not healed, that don't know how to channel that in a positive way by healing it or by overcoming it or by using it to try and better other people by not making the same mistakes or inflicting the same wounds on others that were inflicted upon them. Unfortunately, we will run into people like that from time to time. But what we have to do is become more emotionally secure within ourselves, more emotionally stable and mentally sound by renewing our own minds, by being assured of who we are. So by what I mean by that is what we have to do is tear down the limiting beliefs. You have to understand that everything that we have become is a result of the people that raised us, the things that they believed, what they projected upon us, which were mostly their own fears. We had a lot of evil projections upon us from either our parents, our caretakers, people that were around us in our circle, because of their own fears of failure, projected those same fears upon us. Words that were spoken over us by other people's own insecurities. People can be insecure about the way they look, and then they inflict those things on you. They want you to also be insecure about the way you look. Their belief systems, which were more than likely outdated. So we have to learn how to begin to tear down the traditions of men, tear down those outdated belief systems, question everything that we were learned or everything that we were taught when we were younger, the things that were spoken over us. Why do we believe that we're ugly? Why do we believe that we can't excel in this or we can't excel in that? Why do I think I can't swim? Why can't I go off to college if I want to? You begin to question those things. Why do you feel that way in the first place? What was spoken over you? And then you have to start tearing down those thoughts by and those beliefs by challenging them. Begin to do your own self-help. Start looking up self-help books. Begin to reaffirm yourself by the word of God. Begin to affirm and declare what he says over your life versus what other people said over your life, because his words are true. His words actually hold weight and they will stand when everything else falls. So you have to begin to replace those negative beliefs, replace those outdated traditions of men by actual facts, by things that are going to help you actually elevate in life and advance in life. So once we get to that place of self assurance where we are healed, we've renewed our mind, people can't affect us the way they used to. We'll be able to spot somebody that is hurting, that is going through unhealed trauma from a mile away. So by the time they walk up to us, we already know how to approach them. We already know to tread lightly. We already know what words to say, what words not to say, because we know that they're coming with baggage. And we already know that hurting people hurt other people. And we already know what to expect and what to look for. But because we've done our own shadow work, we've done our own healing, and we know who we are, and we're constantly reassuring ourselves and affirming ourselves on a daily basis, we learn how to filter the things that other people believe, the things that other people say. We understand how to point out in their conversations where these words are coming from, where these thoughts and these beliefs are coming from, and we don't take hold of them. We can choose to throw something in a garbage disposal in a split second and still pretend to be listening and in agreement or whatever. But we don't have to take that stuff in our spirit. We can instantly reject those things that go against how we have built ourselves up to believe what we believe about ourselves according to the word of God, based on truth. Once you tear down the lies, it's easier for you to spot the truth. So I said all that to say that it's just worth doing that shadow work, understanding who you are, how you came to be that way, what you believe, why you believe what you believe, and challenge the things that you believe that you learned when you were a child. Because I can assure you that the people that raised us more than likely were wounded, were hurt. They went through things. They have things projected on them as well. So in most cases, they projected that same stuff on us. And somebody has to break the cycle. But I'm telling you that when you fantasize about seeing someone who wronged you hurting, and you continuously feed that root of bitterness on the inside of you, you're only going to continuously produce more fruits of bitterness. You will literally repulse people from being around you. And I don't care. A lot of people say, oh, I don't care, about, I don't want people around me. But the fact is, nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to really completely be isolated. People have built up walls because of the hurt and pain that they've experienced. They've vowed to never let anybody in to hurt them, but they are suffering, producing bitter fruits and repulsing everyone, causing emotional instability, causing physical ailments. And they are inhibiting themselves from growing spiritually. They are literally keeping themselves in a box where they are stagnant in life and not growing. So, like I said, just like, lust is never satisfied. Number one, if you have a lust problem, you got to nip that in the bud as well. And I'll talk about that on a later podcast. It is a definite destiny destroyer. It will hijack your destiny faster than a New York minute. I'm telling you, it will. So that's why you have to begin to check these intrusive thoughts at the door and begin to, deal with them. Don't even allow them to take root, because bitterness is never satisfied, just like lust is never ever satisfied, just like money never ever sleeps. Okay, so let's look at some of the health conditions that holding on to bitterness can actually affect. Okay, bitterness can trigger the body's stress response, leading to elevated levels of stress hormones and anxiety. And all this does is causes depression. And oh my God, depression is something I went through that. I experienced it for so long, and it's not something that I would wish on anybody. Depression is something that is very hard to overcome on your own. And I'm not telling anybody about, anything negative about medications, but medications didn't help me. I had to go to psychiatric units. I had to be put on psychotropics, anti-anxiety, antidepressants. None of those things helped me. It was only until I began to do my own shadow work and self-healing and begin to release people and forgive people for the pain that they inflicted upon my life, through understanding them, gaining a better introspection of those people, that I began to actually heal. So not only does it cause depression, but it will also cause heart disease. Okay, heart disease is a silent killer. Okay, it's not like we're going around getting EKGs every day or heart ultrasounds every day. So you definitely want to keep your heart healthy. You don't want to have a disease like heart disease, because, like I said, it's a silent killer. High blood pressure. Okay, you ever heard the term blowing head gaskets? I mean, just being so angry that your blood pressure goes up. You're causing so much instability within your natural your natural your process and function of your organs by just holding on to things that you could just simply release and let go. It causes chronic pain and a weakened immune system. So when you do have things that come around that could be a threat to your immune system, you'll probably be one of the first ones to catch it because you have a weakened, already compromised immune system by holding on to resentment, holding on to bitterness. So forgiveness followed by shifting your thoughts and becoming more positive is the only way to overcome bitterness. Okay, I'm going to give you two scriptures that I want you to look up, and they are Ephesians 4:31 and 32, Hebrews 12 and 15, and they talk about forgiveness. Okay, they also talk about bitterness and why you need to let bitterness go. So I will also be attaching a lesson plan I would like to include every week. This will be for weeks 1 and 2 because last week was on forgiveness. This week's on bitterness because they go hand in hand. I would like for you to click on this lesson plan. It's completely free and it's completely up to you, but I feel like it will do you some good. Some literature in there, some scriptures in there, also some homework that you can do to try and help jumpstart your healing journey. So until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as always, I look forward to meeting you again next week. Continue to be blessed, work on your wholeness, and as always, work on your healing. Have a blessed day.